I'm Becky Norwood with Spotlight Publishing House, and this is my honor to introduce you to Patricia Campbell. And if you know her already, then it goes without saying how magnificent she is. We have her publishing her first book, and mine's actually on the way. Yes. Never ever give up. What a subject. And it's something that I think all of us have heard over and over again, yet you go into so much more depth about what that means and how to really live a life that is productive and yet fulfilling and enjoyable. So let's have that conversation. Where did this
Okay.
book come from and what's the background?
Well, the book itself, there's two. I'm hearing two questions. One is the book
There is.
itself, and then there's my story. So, the book itself has come from the fact that I have had a dream for years. I think it would be about maybe it's probably over 40 years. I fell in love with books when I was a child. When it was one of my safe places. My mom would take me to the library, and I'll never forget. I don't know how old I was, maybe grade one. And I loved the smell of books. I loved the smell of the library. And when I discovered the world that lived inside of books, I fell in love. And I developed a passion, I think, even at that young age for books and for writing and for reading. And so when I was older, I had this passion. I said my dream was to write a book. And it never happened until, well, now I
One
was a
day.
co-author in another bestseller, but to really write my own book. So it's a lifelong dream.
Lifelong dream finally fulfilled. And how does that feel to you to be able to say, I'm the author of a book and probably will become a #1 best-selling author?
Well, as soon as you said it, I could feel it in my heart. I can feel it in my stomach and in my heart, and I feel teary-eyed. I feel, oh boy, yeah, I feel humbled. I feel honored. I feel blessed. The way that it's all come about, Becky, and yeah, I think right now I'm in that stage. I'm not yet in the excited stage.
Mhm.
Uh, as you know, there's so much to do behind the scenes, and it's also just getting it out there and sending a pre-copy to my launch team and having them start to give me feedback is starting to it's becoming real.
It's that, each of these steps, and I always ask my authors, how do you eat an elephant? And it's one step at a time because there's a lot of work to bringing a book to the world and bringing it in the correct way. And it takes a lot of pairs of eyes also to make that happen. And you have had a lot of eyes on your book as far as you with the editing process, and your daughter was able to help considerably. Your husband helped. I mean, it was a family affair, but it also, you were smart enough to bring in outside help too, because it takes a lot of different eyes to see what's written in a book.
As I discovered, and I am a firm believer in not doing it alone. I don't. The Lone Ranger syndrome only gets us so far. So
Very good. So what's the story behind Never Ever Giving Up?
the story behind it is it's my story of being in a situation, or a life when I was 37 years old. I woke up, and although I had dreamt, as I had dreamt of a book, I had dreamt since I was 16 and became pregnant, that I had dreamt of having a life I loved, of being the best mom, having an amazing family, the perfect family, actually. And then a wake-up call in a heated conversation with my teenage daughter, and hearing my mother's voice kind of explode out of my mouth. And I thought it woke me up to who I had become, which wasn't who I had always dreamt I would be. And I took a pretty hard look at my life, and I made a vow. I pledged that to myself, really to myself, and then to my daughter and my son, although they never really heard the pledge. But I made a vow that I would do whatever it would take to really turn my life around and live a life that I loved, that I could model for my children, the life that I had dreamt of when I was that idealistic, younger self. And so what happened is that my quest led me to study with some world famous teachers on how exactly do we that, because many people want to have this, different results, better results, of more of an impact maybe in the world, but a life that is more than what they have right now. And I'll say that I really went on a quest. I was determined, because because it was such a big wake up call when I saw that I had promised my children that I was going to be this amazing mom, right? Such great kids. And I had some work to do. I had some work to do, and a lot has
Don't we
happened.
all?
A lot has happened, a lot of healing, Becky. And so when I saw how that has changed my life, I developed this burning desire to then help every woman on the planet that wants to live a life she loves, make her circumstances better, and that I would tell her, show her exactly what I've learned. How did I do it? And it really is, what's exciting is that it's not that I did anything so, really so extraordinary. I'm an ordinary woman. However, I made some extraordinary decisions. I discovered the universal laws of success. I really have read the books, many of the books of the greats, and studied with some very powerful, successful women and men. And so I've just compiled it all together as much as could be compiled in one book. You can't
It's
write it all in one
impossible
book.
to do it all, isn't it?
Yes.
You talk about becoming highly successful and the areas of our life where where it's important to really take a look at that success. And it covers a lot of areas. It's not just one little area, or it can't be a whole paintbrush, swipe that we've got it all. Talk about the different areas that you mention in the book.
Well, and we're women, right? I mean, this book is primarily, I coach women, and so it's for women. Although if a man reads it, it just apply the same principles. But as women, we're kaleidoscope. We are not, we're comprehensive. So the areas that I find in working with women that are important to us, the areas that matter, are our health and well-being, our relationships, including our relationship with spirituality and our relationship with ourselves, our vocation, our vocari, whether it's a business that we would love, whether we're philanthropic, whether it's a career that we have. And then there's time and money freedom. So we work as we work, and what is the time that we want to have? What is the freedom that we want to have with our money that we are dreaming of having? So those are the main areas.
Beautiful. You have what is it, 8 keys in this book of
Yes.
Where you give suggestions. You kind of divide it out into those little things where there's a key to success, which is so very important. When somebody picks up your book, what do you want them to gain?
That is a great question. Well, it depends on where they're at. I really want them to gain hope that yes, there is a way. There's a path you can follow. It's proven, it's clear, it can be easy. And then I want them to have the tools to be able to, if they're ready, if they're highly motivated and ready to take action, that there are steps that are concrete they can actually take to create the results that they would love.
Beautiful. Well, I have to say that you've been incredibly fun to work with, and responsive, and the content in your book is fabulous. But you lead by example, and you've taught me a lot through the whole process too, just by the way you lead.
Well, thank you, Becky.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I don't think I'm a recovering perfectionist, you see. So, and I'll say thank you and say that, there really is no perfect. I'm an ordinary woman that has made extraordinary decisions, and my life is real, right? We're all living this life that's real. And so we just, as long as we do our best every day to be who we see our best self being.
Very good. For those that are listening, be sure and pick up a copy of Patricia's book. It is on Amazon. It will be on other platforms as well. But all you have to do is type in her name and never, ever give up, because there are other Patricia Campbells on there.
Many.
But what's the future hold? What's your next big thing you're working to accomplish?
Great question. Well, I'm actually just working on that now. So writing a book is a time-consuming
It
exercise,
is.
right? And I still coach groups of women. I have VIP groups and some private women that I coach. So I'm expanding that now that I have expanded time. And I have studied with Lisa Nichols on making a bigger impact with speaking. So I will be really honing my speaking skills and doing some keynote speaking. And now also I'll be adding workshops now that we're in 2022 and things are shifting and moving. I'm going to add some online still and some in live workshops in the coming year.
How awesome. Well, for those that would take your classes, they would learn from the best.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well, what a celebration. What an accomplishment. What a celebration. And make sure that you take the time to celebrate this wonderful accomplishment.
Thank you, Becky. And I just want to say it has been a pleasure to work with you as a publisher. Absolutely outstanding. So if anyone is listening and you have a book to write, here is the publisher to get a hold of as well. So I know that when I've watched it come together and I've watched the whole process, that it wouldn't be the bestseller that I know it is, probably as this is being aired, that I know it will be, that without the amazing work that you've put into it too, Becky. I'm so grateful to have had to found you.
Thank you. Thank you. What a blessing. So go forth and enjoy and keep on prospering. And for those that are listening, pick up a copy of this amazing book. Right.